What's going on, everybody? I wanted to do a video that shows my Ostarine cycle. I am starting it today. I actually took the first dose yesterday, so technically that was the first day that I started. And the doses that I'm taking currently are 15 milligrams per day, and I'm going to be taking that for a week, and then upping the dosages a little bit, and I detailed that in one of my previous videos. Sorry about the video quality. I'm still traveling, so I don't have good Wi-Fi connection, and therefore I'm live streaming this, and the quality is not as good as it usually is. But I've got the Ostarine right here, and it has 30 milligrams per milliliter, and I am starting out for the first week at 15 milligrams. One thing I did notice, because I know you guys have a lot of questions about SARMs, how they come, what are reputable sources. I don't talk about the sources that I get SARMs from, but one thing that I noticed in this bottle that I just got, you guys won't be able to see it, but there's actually some relatively good sized crystals in the bottom of this bottle, and I wish you guys could see that in there, but you actually can. You can see it a little bit right there. You see some of those crystals right there in the bottom of this bottle. And I didn't have any of those crystals in any of the other SARMs that I've taken in the past. And the only other SARMs I've taken are S4 and LGD. And I guess I've also taken Rad 140, but that was powder, and I put it in capsules. So that's something that's a little bit interesting. I'm not sure why those crystals are in there, but my suggestion for that, if you guys end up getting SARMs, which I don't suggest, but if you end up getting SARMs and want to test them on your test dummy, your lab rat, whatever you're going to use, I would recommend trying to crush those up as much as possible, and then just shaking up the bottle. Just shake it up right before you take it, so that hopefully you get a relatively even distribution of those crystals. Now, I imagine that's not all of the Ostarine just in those crystals. I can almost guarantee it's not, but perhaps that's a little bit that the solution just couldn't absorb. When they put it in the bottles, it might have been hotter, and therefore the crystals weren't there. They were all absorbed in the liquid, but when the liquid cools, it may have formed those crystals in the bottom. So I recommend just kind of crushing those up as good as you can. And that's what my plan is for this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the dosages and everything that I'm going to be taking, and mostly about the method. So what I'm going to be doing is using this dropper, and if it's filled up all the way to this mark, that is 1 milliliter. And this solution has 30 milligrams of Ostarine per milliliter. So if I fill it up all the way up here, that's 30 milligrams of Ostarine. Now, that is going to be what I'll be taking at the peak of my cycle. I'm going to ramp up the dosages, and then I'm going to taper down the dosages towards the end of my cycle. And 30 milligrams is the most that I will ever be using on this cycle, unless I think I need to go slightly higher. But I don't think I'm going to go past 30 milligrams on this cycle, because this is going to be a relatively long cycle. We're looking at a 12-week cycle here. So what I'm going to do in order to take this, I took my first dose last night, and Ostarine has a 24-hour half-life. So what I'm going to be doing is taking it every evening. I was planning on taking it every morning, but I think now I'll take it every evening, because I'm hitting my workouts in the evening. So what I'm going to do is just come back from my workouts and take my protein, take my multivitamin, take my Ostarine. It's when your metabolism is just kicking up because it's hyped up from the workout, and hopefully that should allow for better absorption and efficacy of the Ostarine that I'm taking. And another thing that people ask me is, should I take it with water? It tastes like crap. What do I need to do here? I always use grapefruit juice. So I'll take a swig of grapefruit juice, and then I'll just go ahead and get a little bit of Ostarine in the dropper, just shoot it into my mouth with the grapefruit juice and swallow it. Since grapefruit juice is pretty strong, it masks the flavor for the most part of the SARM solution. And also grapefruit juice has a compound in it that has been shown to actually increase the efficacy of drugs. So, I have some nurse friends, and they told me that they don't give grapefruit juice or anything to their patients who are on drugs because it can cause adverse effects among people because depending on the person, depending on their genetics, this compound within grapefruit juice, and I'm blanking on what the name of it is, but you can search this for yourself. The compound within grapefruit juice can actually increase the efficacy of the drug by up to 20%, which is insane. So, for someone who is taking 30 milligrams straight versus someone who's taking 30 milligrams with some grapefruit juice, it would be like me taking 30 milligrams, and if I take it with grapefruit juice, 20% increase in efficacy would be like me taking actually a 36 milligram dose, because 20% of 30 is 6, and therefore it'd be like me taking a 36 milligram dose as opposed to someone who's just taking it straight. And that's with me only taking 30 milligrams. So it's basically going to increase the efficacy, hopefully, of what I'm taking a little bit, and it also masks the flavor. So I don't mix it with water, I don't mix it with milk, nothing like that, because I don't want to risk dilution. I don't want to risk decreasing the efficacy of the SARM that I'm taking, in this case, Ostarine. I only want to increase the efficacy if I have to mix it with something, and therefore that's why I use grapefruit juice. So I'll keep you guys updated on how I'm feeling. One of the other guys that is taking this Ostarine cycle with me, he's taken it for about 2 weeks now. He started earlier than me. He said he notices that his pumps are a little bit harder. He says he feels dense. He feels a little bit stronger, but he's only about 2 weeks into it. And from what I understand, it usually takes about 2 weeks to really feel like there's a difference in what you're doing. So it takes about 2 weeks to really notice effects from Ostarine at about a 20 to 30 milligram dose from what I've researched online. So I'm not expecting much in this first week, not expecting much in the second week, especially since I'm taking smaller doses at the beginning. So just keep that in mind when you guys, or if you guys use SARMs or one of the other compounds, any other compound. Don't expect good results right away. You might get good results, but it all depends on your genetics. It depends on where you got it from. It depends on whether you have legit stuff or not. So that's something, I don't tell where I get any of this stuff from because I don't want to encourage people to take it. But, there are places out there that are selling something that they say is Ostarine or they say is another SARM, when really, most likely it's a pro-hormone or other compound. So that's something, with the United States that, I think needs to be changed, because I was talking to a guy from Belgium, one of my subscribers. He commented on one of my videos, and he said, hey, steroids and SARMs, they're actually legal here. And so we were talking a little bit about the regulation. And by having, let's say, steroids legal, it makes it so that there's more regulation on the compounds. You know that what you're getting is legit because there's no sense in hiding it. Everything is tested from the manufacturers. You're getting this straight from a store. You know what you're getting is legit, and you can go get medical oversight without feeling like you have to hide anything from your doctor. Because, if you're taking steroids here in the United States, and again, SARMs aren't steroids. SARMs are not illegal. They're just not intended for human consumption. So they're used as research chemicals. But, if you take steroids here in the U.S. and then you go to your doctor, technically, taking steroids here is illegal unless you have a prescription. So people aren't inclined to get doctor's oversight. And people are getting steroids or other compounds from these risky websites because they have to go under the table to get them. But if everything's legal, then they can just go to their store that has, approval by the government to sell these compounds. So what you're getting is legit, and it's a lot safer that way. So, I don't know if the United States is going to legalize steroids or, any other compounds for human consumption without a prescription from the doctor, but I think it would be a good thing if they do. And I see that there's a lot more openness now about steroid discussion and SARMs discussion than there was even 1 or 2 years ago. On YouTube, other creators are talking a lot more openly about steroid use. And I think that has to happen in order to kind of remove this stigma from steroid use, because really, people make their own choices, and there shouldn't be a stigma just because you use steroids or you use SARMs. But you also, these people feel like they have to hide things, and that's because they're illegal, or they're going to use sponsors. They're going to lose sponsors because of that, because of their steroid use or because of their SARM use, whatever. So that's kind of a discussion that I think needs to be had, and I'm glad that I'm seeing more of that on YouTube. More openness about SARM use and steroid use and any other compounds that you're using to help you get a little bigger in the gym, or whatever you're using these compounds for. But anyways, I'll keep you guys updated on my cycle. Started it yesterday. I'll be taking another dose in a few hours here this evening. 15 milligrams per day for this first week, and then I'll be ramping up the dosages a little bit. I'll keep you guys updated on a daily basis, a weekly basis at least, what any side effects that I have are, if any. I'm expecting probably a little bit of acne, and I'm using apple cider vinegar each day, just drinking a tablespoon mixed in with water to help negate that. But I'll keep you guys updated on everything that I'm feeling with this Ostarine cycle. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I'll have some more updated videos here soon, and drop some comments if you guys have some questions for me, have some suggestions, or just have some thoughts. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Catch you next time.